But, Mark, let's move on into our next team, which will be the only other team from this division not to make the playoffs, as the top two teams were both playoff teams in 2016. Well, you could technically say 2017, but the 2016 season. But we're going to look at the Washington Redskins. And there's two things that I want to start with this team. And the first thing is, yes, we have until July 17th for a deal to get done. But the big question is, will this be a contract year for Kirk Cousins? So I want to start with this preview with a question for you.
All right.
Do the Redskins and Kirk Cousins strike a deal by the July 17th deadline to get an extension done?
No, because I think I've said this before on the podcast, that the Washington Redskins will do anything they can to effectively fuck up this Kirk Cousins situation. They are trying so damn hard to do it. I mean, the man throws 4,100 yards and yeah, but do it again. So he throws 4,900 yards, and they're like, yeah,
but do it again.
Do it again. Do it a third time and make it cost us even more. It's like, man, you should have signed him when he had the chance, because he's lit it up, and now he's going to cost you way more money. I can't imagine they're going to get it done.
Either franchise tag or extension.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're going to get it done, because nothing has shown that they have any desire to get it done. And they took away some weapons for Kirk Cousins. I mean, they gave him Terrell Pryor, which you're, interested in. I don't necessarily want to say excited about, but you're interested in that. And Jordan Reed, of course, is, the number one wide receiver essentially on this team. As a tight end, but I loved him in fantasy football, but I don't know. The Washington Redskins, to me, are that team where they have a lot of pieces that you want to like them. They've got one of the best passing games because of Kirk Cousins, essentially. They can score a lot of points. The defense, like I said, like this whole division with the Giants being the exclusion, have a pretty good, solid, average defense as well. Problem is that the Washington Redskins are just destined to mess it up. For some reason, they finally have this solid quarterback, above average quarterback, playing great football, and they want to mess it up.
Well, and you know what I think when it comes to this, what really might screw the Redskins with Kirk Cousins and why this year might be a contract year for him? I want to give you two quarterbacks. Quarterback A, quarterback B, and you tell me which one you think should be paid higher. Here's quarterback one stats. He threw for just over 3,900 yards. He has a completion percentage of just under 64%, 28 touchdowns, 6 INTs. Quarterback B threw for just over 4,900 yards, a completion percentage of exactly 67%, 25 touchdowns, 12 INTs. Which quarterback are you giving the bigger contract to?
Well, as much as I enjoy the lower interception count, I love those yards. And I know who it is.
Do you know who it is?
It's Kirk Cousins.
Who was the first quarterback?
Derek Carr.
The guy who just got the big contract.
The monster contract.
He gets the monster contract. And the numbers to me, yes, the interception numbers for Derek Carr are better, but Kirk Cousins throws, this is what's interesting, throws for more yards in that system with a lower average. I want to say the average is a little bit lower for each quarter for Derek Carr, or for Kirk Cousins than is Derek Carr, because Derek Carr has those explosive weapons of Cooper and Crabtree on each side. Cousins has got him beat everywhere else. Total yards, completion percentage, and the touchdowns are right near the same with that upper 20s touchdown numbers.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me how, especially for something like for Derek Carr here, that the Redskins let that happen first. If you're looking at it in the business perspective, if you let Derek Carr set the price, unless for some reason you thought that Derek Carr was going to take a very team-friendly deal,
which he didn't.
He did not. I don't know why you would let him and his agent get that deal done first, because now Kirk Cousins going, awesome. That's the floor.
And guess who has the better QBR from last year?
Probably Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. Has a 71 where Derek Carr's was 60.6.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me to watch this team who needed a quarterback for so long and traded the world for a quarterback second overall that did not work because of injury, but did not work, and other drama on the team. And now they have Kirk Cousins, who rose up to the challenge and is saying, I'm ready for it. All you got to do is make that commitment, and they refuse to do it.
The one thing I will say, though, about this Redskin team, they are trying to do a similar, not the exact same way, but similarly put more weapons around Kirk Cousins to hope that he stays. Do you still got Jamison Crowder? You still got Josh Doxson, who they drafted 2 drafts ago. But they bring into the wide receiver core Terrell Pryor coming over from Cleveland. That's a huge addition. Plus a guy that they drafted out of Oklahoma in the 4th round, I want to say, Samaje Perine. They're already talking about, like, there have been reports that I've seen that not only are they saying Perine might be a solid contributor along with Rob Kelly, but he might win the starting job when we get to training camp and be the starting running back for the Redskins his rookie year.
The one thing I want to say, with Terrell Pryor, I know we're all excited to see him, and he put up some numbers in Cleveland.
Is it the Kirk Cousins thing of, like, do it again?
I feel like Terrell Pryor is we got to see it again. You can have hope. You can have optimistic
But he did it with the
views.
Browns.
Yeah, but
the Browns quarterback.
Who else were they going to throw to?
I know, but, like, Cody Kessler is nowhere near. I like Cody Kessler, but he's nowhere near where Kirk Cousins is. If Kirk Cousins finds him a lot, he could have more yards than he did last year, and that's even astronomical to think about.
You hope. I mean, Kirk Cousins has more options. He's got more weapons out there.
He's going to throw whoever's open.
Exactly. Where Terrell Pryor essentially was the only option. I mean, we're not talking about fantasy football today, but that is kind of the warning, for somebody who's thinking about Terrell Pryor as the number 1 wide receiver off the board, because people are thinking about it. Maybe you hold off because Kirk Cousins has a lot of options. Cleveland only had only had Terrell. So I'm interested to see that. I don't necessarily fully believe he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver. Does he have the potential to be? Sure. But I do want to see a little bit more on a different team here.
Now, let me ask you this. 2 receivers that we talked about were the thing that is the big difference between the Redskins and the Eagles. Because like I said, Redskins trying to put pieces around Kirk Cousins to help him succeed. But there might be Redskin fans that are either thinking or have already commented, that, of course, guys, you're forgetting we had Pierre Garçon, who led the team with 1,041 yards, and we had Deshaun Jackson, who was second on the team with just over 1,000 yards, 1,000-yard wide receivers. And now their top 3 is Terrell Pryor, who had a really good year in Cleveland, but like you said, he's coming over.
Is it a flash in the pan?
Is it a flash in the pan season? And then your other 2 top receivers are Jamison Crowder, who had 847 yards last year, and Josh Doxson, who was injured for most of the year, only had 7 targets and had 66 yards on 2 catches.
They got 2 wide receivers with the last name Quick. So that should tell you something. They're going to move fast.
Okay.
Chip Kelly's coming over here. No, I mean, that's what I hinted at when I was saying that they've done everything they could, including losing weapons, to ruin Kirk Cousins' season. I mean, if you looked at this on paper and you believed in conspiracy theories, like I know you do, Ricky.
I do.
You like to put your tinfoil hat on.
Especially if it's like NBA trade season or NBA free agency.
So if you're saying, we got this quarterback who keeps proving that he deserves more money. He deserves to be the highest paid quarterback. He's got these good wide receivers.
Let's put him through all these obstacles.
Let's take those good wide receivers away and see if you can still put up those numbers. Because we're hoping you don't, and we don't have to pay you as much. And then next year we can give you good wide receivers.
I don't get why.
I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm just saying the Redskins are fucking this whole thing up. So badly. They really are. I can at least give the benefit of the doubt for the first year not paying him because Kirk Cousins, when he had his opportunities, he didn't take them before. Now he suddenly did. But you know what? He's a late bloomer. Took him a little bit to really get comfortable, and now he is, and now he's going to take the world over by storm. But anyways, with those weapons being gone, yeah, it's just another head scratcher of like, man, Washington, you are not doing something right. Terrell Pryor is a great addition, and it makes sense. It definitely does. We'll see what happens.
Well, and the thing that I look at is I just flipped over to the schedule, and the Redskins last season lost against Pittsburgh, lost to the Cowboys, then went on their 4-game winning streak against teams like the Eagles, like Baltimore, like New York, like Cleveland. And the thing that I think about is looking at this year, looking at the first, I'll say even just the first 4 games of this season, I think that they, just like the rest of their division and the Eagles we just looked at, the scheduling, the league did them no favors because their first 4 games, you play the Eagles, which is going to be a tough game. You can win that game, but it's going to be a tough one. The Rams, I'll give it to you. But then you got to play 2 monsters from the AFC West in Derek Carr, who we already talked about. And talk about this. I know it's at home, and I know it's Sunday night for them. What if they don't get a deal done, and then in that game, Kirk Cousins makes Derek Carr look like complete poop?
Look like a rookie quarterback.
Not saying it's going to happen, so you guys don't have to get angry that Ricky's doing some hot takes here.
But he just outperforms him.
What if that happens where it's like, wow, and Derek Carr got how much money?
We should have paid this Kirk Cousins guy 2 years ago.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, and then they got to play Monday night on the road in Arrowhead.
That's one of those games where I'm so excited. You look at the schedule every now and then, and you point out like 3, 4, 5 games where you're saying, I cannot wait for this one. In the preseason, before the preseason, I cannot wait for this game. I mean, that's one of the early ones for sure.
And I even look at their first 8 games, and in their first 8 games, you want to know how many automatic wins I see?
How many?
2. The Niners and the Rams. I mean, the division games will be close. That's this whole division I'm chalking up to. Division games will be 1-score games. They're coin flip games for the entire division. But the Seahawks on the road, Arrowhead on the road, and then, you get Oakland at home, but Oakland's a good team, and it all depends on if Kirk Cousins can outshine Derek Carr. I think overall that the schedule makers gave the Redskins no favors, and I wonder if their offensive weapons are going to be able to do enough for Kirk Cousins, because defensively, I'm not really worried about this team. Really, the one person that I really want to see from this team is their first-round draft pick, and Jonathan Allen.
Good.
I want to see what he does this season because everybody was saying that, you know what, the arthritis in the shoulder, pass on him. And I know that I want to say me and you, I know me for sure, were in the thought of, I'm like, take him in the top 5. Don't worry. If you get X amount of good years out of him, you got those years out of him.
Yeah, for sure. No, I was in the same part. I don't think the arthritis is honestly that big of a deal. And before somebody yells at me, this is coming from somebody who has arthritis. So I'm saying it's not that big of a deal. He can still play. And he can still play for a good amount of years before it really starts to hurt him.
I'd rather have arthritis than concussions.
Well, why not both?
Why not both?
It's football. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the steals getting him 17 overall. And that is huge. And he's going to be a guy who's a day one starter on this defensive line. You don't get talent like that at 17 overall very often. And this is a guy who can play pretty much anywhere on the defensive line. It's going to be really great to see him. There's going to be a lot of flexibility there. This is a scary addition for the rest of the teams in that division to see Jonathan Allen go and have to, see him twice a year coming at your quarterback. That's going to be a big deal.
Well, and here's the question I'm going to ask for you. Do you think that he's going to be able to contribute at a high level his rookie? Well, high level meaning like a good quality level his rookie year.
Yeah, I think he's a defensive rookie of the year candidate.
Oh, okay. I
think he's very much in the running because he's going to play right away. He's at a prime position where he can make a difference because he's going to probably be, I'm thinking that he's defensive end more so than defensive tackle. So he's going to make those highlights. He's going to get to the quarterback. He's going to add the pressure. He's going to disrupt the defense. Disrupt the passing game. So he's definitely going to make a defense for a team that is, going to play a lot of good quarterbacks next year.
And the one thing that I'm wanted to make sure I'm getting this 100% right, and in this article they don't mention it, but I want to throw it out to you.
Yeah.
The last thing I heard with this defense, because one name we hadn't mentioned is the biggest name on this defense, the biggest talker on this defense, and Josh Norman. Mm-hmm. This year, a minor change that I believe that the Redskins are going to make this year is that it's no longer going to be, okay, Norman's on this side of the field, so, hey, let's move Des Bryant to the other side of the field. No, he will shadow number one wide receivers this year, no matter where they are. And to me, I look at that and I go, good. Yep. That is how it needs to be for the Redskins, because here's the thing. When I heard that last year that it was going to be Josh Norman on one side of the field, mm-hmm. I said in my head, I'm like, remember the Titans when the coach goes, who do they think they are? The New York Jets? I had that same thought, but take out Jets and put in Seattle Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Who do they think they are? The Legion of Boom? That they can have, let's keep Richard Sherman over here. Yeah, but you've got quality players on and when I say quality players, I mean like all-stars on the Pro Bowl players on the other side. The Redskins aren't like that. So I think for the Redskins, it needs to be Josh Norman, OBJ. OBJ's going to the other side. I'm going to go along with him.
Yeah.
That's how it needs to be. He needs to be on your number one receiver.
Yeah, and you mentioned being a talker. I mean, I don't know if the fear essentially is that he's going to get himself into trouble.
A little bit of trash talk. I love it.
I don't know if that's what the fear is, that he's going to get himself into trouble by following these guys around. I don't know, but, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be chipping away at them and kind of riling them up a little bit, make them make that mistake if you can keep yourself controlled. And
the one I look at is OBJ. And the reason why I bring him up is because these two have a past. Mm-hmm. They have a past, and especially look at OBJ last year. We see that he wasn't emotionally stable through last year, kicking the kicking net, making up with the kicking net, having Eli call him out after the playoff game against the Packers. I can't remember if it was throwing his helmet. I believe he headbutt a locker in the locker room, but something where he damaged a locker after that playoff game because he was upset in his performance. I look at that on top of the previous time when Norman was in Carolina and a little bit of fisticuffs were thrown, and there was a mention of a metal bat on the sideline in that game. I look at that, and if I am the Redskins, I go, be on him. And you know what? Chirp a little bit. Because if you can get under his skin and you can get OBJ out of his own head and you can get into his head, you've already won.
Yeah, bring out the diva.
You have already won the mental battle, and that is half of the overall battle.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that a lot of teams, you kind of expect them to try and exploit because it's been shown that it's going to be an issue. Fortunately for the New York Giants in that case is now they got Brandon Marshall.
Yeah.
So,
OBJ,
you know what, OBJ?
OBJ's not performing, lads. Just throw it to BM over here.
You don't need to do anything. You can hang out with the kicking net over there if you would like.
But, I mean, Brandon Marshall, and we're going to get into it, he's also a guy that has a little, some people would say, has a little bit of diva in him as well, more so on the TV side of things.
I think all
wide receivers have divas.
No, I was going to say, I think you said most people would say, I think all people would say that Brandon Marshall's got a bit of a diva in him.
But the one thing I'll ask you to wrap this up is just overall, what are you seeing from the Redskins this season?
Well, I think
when we get to the end, what's it saying to you?
I think that they're going to continue doing what they've been doing, which is put up numbers, perform well, but maybe not good enough to really make that competition, really compete at the end. Get far in the playoffs. Last year it was getting into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You got a really tough division. So it's not going to be easy. A lot is going to be on those shoulders for Kirk Cousins, and this defense is going to need to step up as well.
I can't wait. I am circling almost every divisional matchup in this division because they will be good games. They will be must-watch TV, even if you have Red Zone, if you have Dave's got the direct TV where you can go to the individual ones. These are going to be the ones that you guys want to focus on. And with the Redskins, I will say this, and I don't mean this as a kind of a jab at you guys, but I can't wait to talk about Kirk Cousins' free agency next year because that's how I see it's going to go. You guys are going to be in it. You guys might even be a playoff team at the end of this year, but I don't think a contract A gets done by July 17th. And I think that because of that, Kirk Cousins will not only hit free agency after this year, but he will walk and Mark, I'm not even like, I will do it. What if he walked to the Chicago Bears, coming back home because he was born in Barrington, Illinois?
He was. I don't know why he would, because they traded up to get Trubisky, and I was walking through the mall the other day, and I saw that Trubisky jersey over there, and I'm like, the sales are starting already. But hey, you know what? I just want a quarterback that's going to win me a Super Bowl.
Hey, maybe he comes to my Vikings because we might need one.
You guys got two quarterbacks. You're fine.
But this is where we turn the discussion on to you guys. Let us know down below. What do you guys think about the Redskins season? How good is it going to be? What are you excited for? What players are you excited for? Let us know down below in the comment section.